Next, what is the next step? We have to create the connection object. Okay, for connection object, I need three things: database URL, database username, and database password. What is database URL? Let me write them down as string values because they are actually string values. Okay, username is a string value, password is a string value, URL is also a string value. What is that URL? Let me briefly show you from MySQL Workbench. In MySQL Workbench, if you go to home, this is home, top left corner, this is home. Okay, when you go to home, this is how it looks, right? And when you click on this, it asks you username and password. Okay, but before that, I also want you to observe something here. It is mentioned localhost colon 3306. Okay, there is some meaning here. There is a meaning here, and it is also mentioning the username. Username is root. Okay, so whenever we are trying to connect to our MySQL server using MySQL Workbench, and when we are clicking on this, what it is internally doing is it is trying to connect to localhost at port number 3306 using username root and the password that I am choosing or password that I am entering. Okay, so when I click on it, it is directly opening the connected thing. Okay, why? Because I have saved my password. Suppose that I did not save my password. Okay, how to do that? I cannot do that for the current one. So what I will do is I will create a new connection just to show you. Okay, I'm choosing host name as localhost, port number is 3306, password is username is root, and giving it a new connection name, new connection. Okay, and then that's it. Click OK. Okay, when I click on this new connection, it asks for password. So where it is going, see, observe, it is trying to access MySQL server at localhost. Localhost represents our current system, which has this uh, IP address called 127.0.0.1. That is the IP address of localhost, our current system, at port number 3306 using username root and password that I am entering. In my case, my MySQL password is TOOR, which is the reverse of root. And when I click OK, it will connect to the database. Okay, so those three things are needed for connecting to the database, even when you are connecting via MySQL Workbench. And so we need those three details. What are the three details? Let me write them down. To connect to the database, three details are needed. What are they? First one is database URL, which is what? Localhost colon 3306. That is the URL. Next is database username, which is root by default. Another one is database password. Okay, in my case it is 2. Okay, in your case, whatever is your database password, that password you have to mention here. Okay, and in database URL, this is not the exact URL. Okay, just writing localhost 3306 is not enough. Okay, why? Because URL always has a format. URL format looks somewhat like this. URL format is protocol followed by colon followed by double slash symbol followed by uh, host name followed by colon followed by port number followed by slash followed by resource name. Okay, this is the URL format of any server based data access. Whenever you want to access data over a server, then this is the format in via which we try to access the data. Okay, in our case we are using a server called MySQL Server. Okay, we are using MySQL Server. Okay, when we are using MySQL Server, then to connect with MySQL Server, just mentioning the location, host name and port number is not enough. You also have to mention the protocol. Okay, so protocol may change from server to server. Okay, okay, it has protocol changes from server to server. Okay, for MySQL Server, what is the protocol? For MySQL Server, protocol looks like JDBC colon MySQL. This is the protocol for MySQL Server. It may change for another database, or if you are using not a database server, if you are using some other server, maybe a HTTP server, maybe a TCP server, a file server, any type of a server, based on that protocol will change. Here what we are using? We are using JDBC colon MySQL as our MySQL server. Okay, so this thing we have to write in the place of protocol. Okay, and after that in the place of host name colon port we have to write this. Okay, and in the place of username we have to write root, password as whatever password you have provided in your database, and what is resource name. Okay, when it comes to databases, resource of a database is always database name. Okay, resource of a database server is always a database name. Okay, so in my case, what is the database name? Okay, in my system, what is the database name? What database I'm using here? I'm using this database called UserDB. Okay, that is my database name. So in my case, UserDB is the database name. Okay, so these are the details we need. What we need? We need protocol called JDBC colon MySQL. We need the database name called UserDB. We need this host name and a port number. We need username and we need password. All these details are needed, and all these details we are supplying in a single statement. Okay, and what is that? All these details are supplied in a method in Java, and it looks like this. The method looks like driver manager dot get connection. Okay, driver manager dot get connection, and this driver manager get connection method call, okay, takes three parameters. As I mentioned, we need three data. It takes three parameters. Okay, these are the three details it is expecting. Okay, in which in the first part it expects a database URL. In the first part it is expecting a database URL. In the second part it is expecting a database username. In the third part it is expecting database password. Okay, here it is expecting database URL, here it is expecting database username, here it is expecting database password. As I mentioned, database URL is made up of protocol, hostname, port number, and resource name. And so your final database URL becomes JDBC colon MySQL, which is the port number. Okay, then colon double slash as per the format, and then host name port number is localhost colon 3306. So localhost colon 3306. Okay, then as per format slash slash, and after that resource name. In our case, resource name is database name, which is userdb. Currently I am using userdb database, so userdb database. This becomes the final database URL for our MySQL database in my system. In your system it may be something different, depending upon what is your database name. Okay, and which database you are using, based on which database server you are using. As per this video session, as per with this video lecture, you are expected to use MySQL Server. So this will not change. Only this part will change if you are using a different database. Okay. So this is our final URL, and this URL is expected to be written here. Okay. So if I am providing these three details, how should I provide? If I write them directly here, that is not the right way. Then how should we provide? We have to provide it as string values. Okay, we have to provide this, this, and this, all three of them as string values. Okay, these are expected as string. This is also a string, and this is also a string. Okay, all three of them should be string values. If they are string values, then we know that they must be enclosed in double quotes, double quotation marks. Okay, we already know that, so I am writing it in double quotes, and here also I have to write it in double quotes. Okay, I have to make sure that this whole thing is a string value. In Java, strings are represented using double quotes. In the same way, username should also be within double quotes, so I'm writing here double quotes, and I'm writing here also double quotes. Okay, this is how your username should be, as well as password also should be within double quotes. Okay, password should also be within double quotes, like this. Okay, these are the expected data. So this is our URL. Okay, and it should be provided where? It should be provided here as a string value, because it is expecting a string value. Okay, another one is this value. Okay, and that should be provided as the second parameter. Database username is second parameter. Okay, this should be provided here as a string value again, and our password is also a string value. This is our password. Okay, This password should also be provided. Where it should be provided? It should be provided as the third parameter. Okay, it should be provided as the third parameter, and it should be provided here. Okay, so our final statement looks like driver manager dot get connection. Okay, and in this driver manager get connection, the first parameter is what? It is JDBC colon MySQL colon / localhost colon 3306 / user DB. Okay, this is our first parameter. Then comma, double quotation, root, which is our username, followed by third parameter as 2, which is my password. In your case, this password can be another password. Okay. So this becomes our final statement for connecting to the database. I hope this is clear. Okay, now let us write the same statement. Okay, let us write the same statement in our Eclipse. So in Eclipse, okay, the second statement is let me write it here. After the try catch, I am writing here. Okay, now here it is giving a different error. What is this error? Let us see it. Okay, it is telling driver manage cannot be resolved. Cannot be resolved. Whenever you see this message, it just means we have to import it. Where it is available? It is available in a package called java.sql. Okay, so let us import java.sql. Okay, once we have imported java.sql, it is telling there is another problem. What is this problem? Let us see. It is unhandled exception, SQL exception. This is a different exception now, and we have just very recently discussed that whenever we see exceptions, we must handle them. That is a good practice. Okay, if you don't remember why it is a good practice, just go back in the video and you just have to refer to the idea of why writing throws clause, what happens, and why providing try catch is a better solution, and etc. You can watch that. Okay, now it is giving an SQL exception. We have to make sure that we are providing try catch blocks. Okay, so let me give you a shortcut way of doing it. Here there is an option suggested as surround with try catch. Okay, I can click this, but I will show you how to type it. Okay, because in some of the cases when you're writing something similar programs in maybe a test, then you won't be using Eclipse, and so it is recommended that you learn how to write this code. Okay, though if you click this, it will get the try catch block, but you may not be able to observe what exactly is created or generated. Okay, so I'm not clicking it. You can click it though, but let me show you how to do it without choosing the recommended option. Okay, so because this line is giving me exception, just like what we have seen earlier, this line is giving the exception, and so this line has to be put inside the try catch block. So I'm selecting this line, okay, and then cutting it, okay, and then I am providing try, and then inside the try I am pasting it, and then I am providing a catch block. So what was the exception we have just observed? The exception was called SQL exception. So I'm writing SQL exception. Okay, now SQL exception, it is telling again there is an error. What is that error? It is telling SQL exception cannot be resolved. What does that mean? It just means that we have to import it. Where it is available? It is also available in java.sql. Okay. So you see, earlier we have imported java.sql.driver manager. Now we want what? SQL exception from java.sql package. So instead of writing multiple import statements, I am writing java.sql.star so that it imports all the classes and interfaces of java.sql package. Okay, so now there is no error. Okay, and here I am going to write a meaningful message to the user. Okay, so why? Just once again, just a small revision. When we provide try catch, it is not actually solving the problem of exception. So what message we want to print to the user? Okay, what message we want to print to the user? We want to print that when this exception may occur. Okay, when this exception may occur, okay, as we have just discussed, when will this exception may occur? Okay, one situation when this exception may occur is there is a mistake in database URL. Another mistake is mistake in database username. Another mistake is database password. Okay, these are the three situations where there is a mistake. When I say if there is a mistake in database URL, then there are again multiple parts in database URL. Okay, so in database URL, what could go wrong? Protocol mistake. When I say mistake, imagine it as a typing mistake. Mistake is always a typing mistake. Okay, mistake is always a typing mistake. Why mistake is a typing mistake? See, we are providing this URL as a string value. Okay, we are providing this as a string value. When we are providing anything as a string value, as per Java, anything that is enclosed within double quotation marks is considered as a string value. And as per Java, string value is a constant. Okay, and Java does not check if you are making any mistake inside the double quotes. Java compiler does not check if you are making any mistake inside the double quotes. Okay, and so it is your responsibility. So if you are making a typing mistake in your database URL which you are typing within your double quotation marks, then Java compiler will not detect it. Java compiler will not show any error for that. Okay, so if there is a mistake in your database URL, what could go wrong again? Mistake in protocol, expected mistake in protocol. So how to resolve it? How to check it? It must be JDBC :MySQL only. If you reverse it, it will give an exception. Okay, it should be JDBC :MySQL only, which is what is protocol part. This is the protocol part. Okay, and after that there is a colon symbol followed by double slash. Even here, if you make a mistake of providing only one single slash, that is also a mistake because that is the URL format. Okay, another mistake possible is mistake in URL format. That means that is missing colon double slash or slash before database name. Okay, another mistake possible is mistake in port number. Okay, even before that there is another mistake possible. Okay, before port number there is also a mistake possible in your local host. Okay, mistake in local host. Okay, it has to be local host only. Port number must be what? 3306 if you are using MySQL database. Another mistake possible is mistake in database name. Okay, in my case database name is user DB. Okay, whichever database you are using in which you have your table, that database name you have to write here. Okay, so these are the different mistakes that are possible. How to rectify if there is an exception? You just have to check those respective exceptions. Sorry, you have to check those respective places where there is a mistake possible. Okay, you have to make sure that your protocol looks like this, your format contains this colon and double slash, and then it contains localhost, it contains colon, it contains 3306, it contains a slash, it contains your database name. These are the things that you have to remember. Now when it comes to database username, you have to check if you are typing the correct database username. Okay, by default it is root, so you can just enter root, but suppose in your MySQL database you have a separate user, then you have to use that username. For now it is root. And then if you are making a mistake in your password, this is the password part. Make sure that you are typing the user database password as per your system. Okay, so check if you are typing the correct database password. These are the mistakes that can happen, and these are the checkings that you can do if exception arises. Okay, so my message to user will be exception. If there is an SQL exception, then I have to check, ask them to check these things. What to check? Check mistake possible. Okay, typing mistake, all right. Typing mistake possible in database URL, database name, database username, and database password. Okay, these are all the possible situations where mistake is possible. Okay, typing mistake is possible. They have to just check it. Now I'm saving it. Okay, currently everything is correct. Okay, everything is correct and it should work. Okay, so if it is working, what I will do, I'll print a message after this try catch, and I will say database connection is successful. Okay, so I'm going to user test once again and run this to check if it is working or not. User choice is 1 and I'm entering the details. Ignore the typing mistakes because it does not matter. We are not saving it in the database yet. See, it is telling something. Something happened. What is it telling? Establishing SSL connection without servers identity verification is not recommended. Wait, I don't understand what this error is. Let me check it. This is a warning. This is not an error, first thing. Okay, and it is after that it is printing database connection is successful. Okay, If it is showing this, most probably execution is complete. Okay, there is no exception definitely. Okay, why? Because it is not printing what message? It is not printing this message, exception followed by this. It is not printing this message. If it is not printing this message, that means exception did not occur. Okay, and it is printing this message. Okay, but just printing this message with, if we see this message, does it confirm us that there is no exception? No, that does not confirm us. If we don't provide try catch, then it will show the exception. If we are, but in our case we are providing try catch, it will definitely not show the exception. Okay, just printing this only tells that that try catch block is over and it has come to the next step. Okay, but in the try catch block it is not printing this message. It means there is no exception. Okay, let me check what is the meaning of this. This is a warning, and this warning is something related to SSL connection without server's identity verification. So what is this? It is trying to tell you that there is a new rule or new suggestion as per these newer versions of SQL, MySQL. It just requires you to provide a SSL connection. It is a secured connection. Okay, for that we have to do something, as it is mentioned. We have to mention verify server certificate property to false and etc. Okay, for now we will ignore it. This is just a warning. It will not stop our execution. It will not uh, it will not be an issue when we are actually connecting with the database and etc. This should be done if you are doing it for a production system. Okay, if you are implementing your SQL for your production system, then we have to do. For now, because we are just learning, we will ignore this, and maybe in the next video I will tell you how to handle this warning. Okay, so let us continue. This part is done.